Hello, my name is Miguel Gavina, and I'll be talking about developing a chatbot for the cloud. So, what's the goal of this project? Well, really, the goal of this project is to build a simple chat app using a server-client model in the cloud. This will require us to initiate a server, and that server will have to sit on an IP address port, and it'll listen for any clients that connect to it. Once the client is able to establish that connection, it can then send and receive messages. So, what is actually happening with this connection? Well, the server listens on an IP address port once it's initiated. So for our case, we are going to be using port 6666. And we will also be using the same computer to initiate the server and the client. So here's a little rundown. This is how it looks like mapped out, but when you look at what's actually happening, you can see that we have to start the server, then we have to bind the IP and the port. Once that's ready, it'll then listen for any clients that want to connect. Once those once those clients are attempting to connect, the server will accept the connections, and then it'll handle incoming messages. So this is our demo here. The code was the server and the client code were both programmed in Java, and here are some snippets from it explaining, sort of just showing what's happening. So this is going to be the communication between the client and the server. If the server establishes a proper connection, it'll return that the connection was made. Here you can see that a socket is just one endpoint of a connection. So you can see that we're establishing a new server socket at port 6666. The client socket will also establish a new socket, and it'll match somewhat. This is going to be on port 6666, and this just has to specify which IP address. So then we can see here the client socket, once it feels that connection, once it detects it, it's going to accept it. Now, once we start that, we can get some messages flowing. Here's a demonstration of a connection. This is a simple connection. Using the program, I navigated to my folder I called the Cloud Final, but here the Java C, Greek server.java, Greek client.java. This is the compilation of both programs. Once those are compiled, I went ahead and ran the Greek server. So once that started, it started listening on port 6666 for any connections. There were none yet since I haven't run the client yet, but once I did run the client, you can see here we got hello client. That signifies a successful connection. And the outcome I really enjoyed starting my own little server and client connection. It's much more fulfilling when you do it hands-on. I feel like I got a better grasp of things just because I was able to see it in front of me. It's different than just reading it off of a screen or a piece of paper. You're getting hands-on. I ran into some issues, but that only helped me even more just discover what can be done to fix those things. I don't doubt I won't see this ever again, so I'm glad I got at least a foot in the door. Next time I run into this, I'll have an idea of what I'm doing. Now, some things I could see improvement on, or the next steps I can take, I'd probably add some security to this. I'd add some user credentials, encryption, and a history of all activity, just so we could get an idea if any issues ever arise, we have really good ideas and information just to help us solve things. Thank you.